All right. Welcome to the Friday Happy Hour. My name is Jesse Belvin. Once again, we have an absolutely amazing session, planned for you. So we're really excited about this guest. Just to kind of give you a little bit of background about him before he kind of jumps on and kind of tells you a little bit more about himself. This is somebody that I've looked up to for a while. I'm the king of kind of spying on people and seeing what's going on around the industry. And this guy's absolutely he's really just revolutionized the game, to be honest. And I was honored that he responded and decided to take time out of his busy schedule to jump on here. He's made millions of dollars inside of the network marketing profession. Then he's taken his talents online and made millions of dollars on there as well. And it's an honor for even someone like myself, maybe you out there, you're trying to find your way in this crazy entrepreneur life, and I couldn't think of anyone better to come on and just really talk about the ins and the outs, the trials and the tribulations than Todd Falcone. So I just want to say thank you so much, sir, for coming on here. And if you don't mind, for anyone who's been living under a rock or who's from outer space and doesn't happen to know who you are, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
What's up, Jesse? Well, good to be here. It's a pleasure. Always fun to chat about making money in network marketing. So thanks for having me on. A little bit about myself. Well, I don't know. I mean, where do I start? I'm from Washington State. I know you and I are from the same state originally. I've been around the network marketing space for about 26 years, which is a pretty long time. And started right out of college. Didn't know what I wanted to do. It was going through career fair, trying to figure out what my path was, and my path kind of brought me into network marketing, and it was actually through what I thought was going to be a job interview, and it ended up being a business opportunity presentation, interestingly enough, and had never heard of network marketing or direct sales, but it was interesting because I was going through career fair. I was getting ready to graduate at out of the marketing department at Long Beach State, and ended up going to this thing that I thought was, like I said, a job interview, and it was a business opportunity meeting. I'd never heard of multi-level marketing or direct sales or entrepreneur or network marketing, but it made sense to me. And I thought, wow, this is really cool. This is such a brilliant idea. You can sell this product and make some money. You can build a team and earn a percentage on what they do as well. And it just made sense to me. I got it. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm skeptical, or, oh, that's one of those things, or, oh, it's too good to be true. I didn't have any of that. It just was cool. And so that's when I started my career. First 2 years, I didn't do very well. I struggled pretty bad, in fact, and had to end up moving home, living in my parents' house and living in the bunk beds, which was fascinating. And then I kind of regrouped, came back at it again, and have been in it ever since. So, and that's the shortened version of it. And now for about the last 15 years, I've been spending all my time teaching and training and essentially sharing the things that have worked well for me as a distributor in the field, because apparently there's so many people that do struggle in network marketing, and it's kind of nice to have someone out there that will help them out.
Absolutely. And for anyone that's listening out there, just really pay attention to the fact that he's been in for 26 years, been an entrepreneur for 26 years, and there's this common theme that we're seeing for people that have made millions of dollars, top earners in pretty much any industry. There's always this point in the beginning where people fall on their face, people are failing, and they've got to overcome whether it's 6 months, 2 years, or sometimes even longer for a lot of people. That's a common theme. And so Todd, if you don't mind, what was, if you care to share, what was some of the reasons you felt like maybe it just wasn't sticking right away? You just didn't quite pick it up right away. This is most people, I think, pretty much everybody doesn't pick it up right away. But what would some of the things that you feel contributed to kind of like the 2 year gap between where you really started taking off?
I would say for sure fear and doubt probably just ruled me. I think that's pretty common, where somebody gets into a business and they see it, but they have no self-confidence, and they are hoping that this thing is real and that it's going to work, but then they're so fearful that it isn't, and that it is too good to be true or something like that, and they're so afraid of what other people think that they don't move. Now, I didn't have that aspect. I talked to a bunch of people. I just didn't really sign that many people up. I mean, I And I think the other thing for me early on was I was serious, and I've always been serious about business. Like if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go do it. I mean, why would you do anything unless you're going to do it? Like, I don't understand why people just go do something half-assed. It's so stupid. If you're going to do something, do it. And so I was doing it, but I wasn't really getting results. And I think a lot of it had to do with me being so forceful and just, it was such a grind for me. And I was just, and I wasn't having any fun with it. And it wasn't until I kind of lightened up and I was like, man, you just enjoying the journey and having fun. And people want to be around somebody that's having fun, not somebody that's like grinding. And so I think that had a lot to do with why I wasn't successful early on.
That's incredible. And I think that, I mean, even myself, I can kind of relate in the sense that, I've seen this profession not be fun. I've seen people not having fun also. And I can see that, definitely the people that, are going out there and having success, for the most part, it's not one of those things they're having success, then they start having fun. It's when you're finally, realizing how fun this can be, that's kind of when the success starts to happen. So that's really awesome. What was the, what do you think was like the thing that kind of helped you overcome, not necessarily the fear, because it doesn't sound like you were terribly afraid, but just what were some of the things that you focused on to start really enjoying what you were doing?
It was interesting because I was at a seminar in LA at the Bonaventure Hotel, and this guy was doing this. He does these like characters on stage, and essentially each character is a lesson, and he's in costume and does all this stuff. And my sponsor was right next to me. I remember this, and he was doing this character, and it was the Joker from Batman. And it was, I was watching him do the Joker, and I was like getting the lesson, and then I get this elbow from my buddy on my right, and he goes, "That's you," and I'm like, I know it's me, and it was just like I had this like epiphany that he goes, dude, you're like the hardest working guy in our entire group. He goes, but you're not getting any results because you're grinding. It's like you're not the joke. Like we got to find the Joker within you. And now it's so hilarious because when people go to my events, like when I teach and train, like it's half stand-up comedy and half training. So I'm always having a blast and making people giggle, and I think that's just again, like I said, again, nobody wants to be around somebody who's not having a good time. So for me, it was part of it was an epiphany at a specific event. So I guess you can call it a light bulb moment or an aha moment, and then of course you got to act on the moment, and the change doesn't happen until, or the results of the change don't really happen until time. I mean, you can change something in an instant by moving in a different direction, but it takes time to see the actual result from it.
What was, I was going to ask you a completely different question, but you'd mentioned aha moment, which I legitimately have written down right here. So just to kind of go with that, obviously you had an aha moment more like, hey, I understand how this thing can be fun. I believe in this. But what was the, I mean, you've made millions of dollars inside of, just your entrepreneur journey. What was that moment where you're like, holy crap, like I could go out there and I could do this for the rest of my life. Like I could go out there and I could have that life that some people dream about. Like what was that moment, not necessarily where you started having fun, but where you were having success and you're like, wow, this is it. I found my calling.
I don't know if I can really pinpoint that moment for me. I think really honestly, when I first looked at network, and so I was 22 years old when I looked at network marketing. I had very little business. I didn't have any business experience. I mean, my jobs up until that point were Jack in the Box, McDonald's, parking cars at Kelly's restaurant. I sold women's shoes at Standard Shoes for a couple months, and I was selling cable television door to door. I mean, that was my experience, business experience. So I didn't have some I'm not like this financial forecaster or anything like that. What I did do again is I walked in and the concept made sense to me. It's like there was no other things that were affecting my judgment around what network marketing was. So I think for me, I bit into the concept of network marketing very early on, even though I didn't make very much money my first 2 years, and had a few years of struggle before I really started to hit it. I knew very early on that network marketing was a place that I wanted to be, that this whole concept of residual income by building a customer base of lots of people just seemed to make sense. And now, saying that, what's fascinating, like I did a conference call the other night, and I do like these Monday night calls. I do them all the time. I've been doing the same call or the same time slot every Monday night for like 15 years. And I did a call on Monday night on the subject of customer acquisition. And I know exactly how many people I get on my conference calls because I do them all the time. And I had about 50% of the people on this Monday night call that I typically have, because it wasn't a sexy subject. I was talking about customer acquisition and customer retention. And it's like, people don't give a shit about customer acquisition and customer retention, and they should. And it's like, I fucking just literally right before I literally hung up with a very, very successful good friend of mine who's been in the business for a long time, who actually called me about the call that we did on Monday night. He goes, dude, that call needed to be done. People need to hear about it. And he goes, did you really have like 50% of the people that you normally have on your? I said, yeah, I had about 50% of the normal traffic I have on my Monday night call, because I tell people what the subject's going to be, and I tell them it's about customer retention, customer acquisition. They're like, fuck it. It doesn't really matter to me what that subject is, and they should, if they're involved in network marketing, care what it is, because this business is about customer acquisition. It's not about recruiting. If you want to build a serious business, and excuse me, I'm very fired up right now, so my use of language is on purpose, and that is, we as a profession need to do a much better job of teaching people about customer acquisition, about creating true and real legitimate customers, not signing up distributors that are simply on auto ship so they can qualify for a check. So what I saw very early on, and I was out of naivete, that I'm like, okay, well, here's this product, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a need for this product in the marketplace. If I can go get some customers, and of course I could get some customers because there's an inherent need in the market, I can therefore make a retail profit on that. If I can then go recruit some people and teach them how to go gather some customers, and I earn a percentage of that, and then we perpetuate that process ad infinitum, that is a recipe for big time residual income. So again, in answering long answer to your question, there wasn't a moment. Maybe that was the moment. Maybe it was the moment I got involved in network marketing that it makes so much sense to me. But we as a profession, I do also believe, need to do a better job of really teaching people beyond just recruiting. And I teach a lot about recruiting and prospecting, of course, but it's also, there needs to be some sexiness to customer acquisition, because sexiness to me is the residual income that's the end result of having real customers, not some distributor that's on auto ship, even though they don't want to be.
Okay, so let me start by saying this is hands down I'm so glad that this transitioned into this topic. You are one of the only leaders I've ever heard just give the raw version of why this is important. Because, for anyone that doesn't know out there, there's 4 stages of network marketing for a company and their growth. And if you want to have that, I'll say Amway, right? If you want to have that Amway legacy out there, you have to have a product that people want regardless of the business opportunity attached to it. So just like you said, some people say, oh, it's not sexy, I want to recruit. But customers are what's going to ultimately, build your retention, build your residual income. People come, they go. Man, it's so awesome that you said that. I had no idea that we transitioned into that topic, but you couldn't have put it more brilliantly, and I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to ask you another question, a follow-up question with this, and I think I already know the answer, but is there anything with the state of network marketing and where it's at today? Okay, so if for anyone that's listening, if you've been in network marketing for a while, if you're just getting involved, Todd, what would you say is something for the industry that you would love to see changed, or something that actually bugs you, just as the industry and kind of where we're transitioning? There's a lot of positives, but I was curious, is there anything that, man, you said, man, I just really wish this would change and we could shape up a little bit?
That's a pretty big, wide open question, because I could go in a lot of different angles there. Obviously, I'm 26 years in network marketing, so I like it. I think it's a pretty amazing profession to be in. I don't know where else you can go, and for $50 or $500 start a business and work out of your house, and come and go as whenever you want, and really the sky is the limit. But I think what we need to do a better job of as a profession is being responsible sponsors, and not just bringing people in and BSing them and painting some picture of like this lavish bullshit lifestyle that they're going to live, and tell them the truth that this is a legitimate business. It's going to take hard work. I'll commit to you. If you commit to me, let's go work this thing. We're going to have to roll up our sleeves and get to work, and it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. And look, I mean, telling people the truth, and then being there to support them and work with them is part of it. And then I also believe from a training standpoint, and I see this firsthand, that there's not enough. There's different ways of learning. Like you can tell somebody to do something, and you can learn from that. But there, if I showed you, if I demonstrated to you, for example, how to do something, and I told you, you're gonna learn that thing, whatever that is, a little more effectively than if I just said, okay, go do this, or this is what we do. So I think one of the things that's missing, and I see it all the time, is the lack of practice and trainings, the lack of interaction and engagement. It's mostly people talking from the platform and teaching, or speaking, and I do a lot of that, so I see it. But there's not a whole lot of engagement and interaction that, and I think that's a big missing piece. Like even something as simple as spending, a Super Saturday and engaging a lot of people in role-playing activities and them doing the thing that we do, they're going to get better at it. So I think if we have more informed, educated, skilled network marketers, we're going to have less detractors, less haters, less skepticism, because I think for me, I'd like to see network marketing as a profession where we get to the point where when somebody hears about network marketing, they're like, oh my gosh, you're involved in network marketing. Which company is it? What are you in? Rather than, oh yeah, I know about you guys, So and why do we have that reputation? Well, we have that reputation for a couple reasons, because anybody can get in, and then they get all excited and they go just do a bunch of stupid stuff and make our profession look bad. Or they get in and then they do stupid stuff and they jump from company to company to company saying this one's great, this one's great, this one's great, this one's better, this one's better. And they're trying to find the answer in some other company when the answer's right here, it's inside. So those are some of the issues I think that are pretty prevalent and that we can do some work on. And again, I know we got some time limitations on this particular interview, so probably as far as I'll go on that one.
No, I mean, this is actually really great because, obviously with the Friday Happy Hour, you're like the perfect person too. Some people are a little hesitant on really just opening up and letting people know like the truth. Like sometimes, people, sorry about my Pomeranian in the back. He likes to get some camera time, but some people, they want to hear what they want to hear. They don't want to hear what they need to hear. And, you even touched another topic too that I would love to hear a little bit more from you, especially, I know for a lot of people out there, sometimes you're lucky. You find the company you want to be with for the rest of your life. Then you've got some people that are still just trying to find, the right company. I know we had Amber Voigt, she guest blogged for us a little while ago, and she had mentioned, she had been blaming her uplines and different people like that, and that's why she was switching companies, and it was really awesome for her to open up like that. And my question for you is, for anyone that doesn't feel like they found their home, or they find themselves, going to this deal and that deal and this, what would you say to them, like as far as, hey, listen, this is why you need to just really plant your flag with where you're at, and I'm not so much saying that, there aren't bad situations where people are in, but obviously there is a lot of rampant running, hopping around, people chasing that gleaming, shiny object. And so what would you say to those people?
Yeah, and I mean, I've been in 6 companies in 26 years. So, would I be considered a hypocrite by saying, jump? You can't. It's like nobody would look at me and go, "You're a jumper." I've had to move, and people choose to move for different reasons. So, the reasons have to be valid reasons, though. What I see happening, and I get to see it all because of what I do for a living. I mean, I speak for different companies. My phone rings off the hook with people calling me, asking me for their advice, and Facebook messages and emails and all this stuff. And so it's not like I'm living in a closet. I know what's going on in the business, and people leave, I think, most of the time for the wrong reasons. They're not. Let me give you a really straight up example. Okay, this is very common. I get these phone calls in my office, and this is what I hear. Todd, and it's not like I'm charging somebody to give them some advice. Somebody calls me and I'm available, I'll help them out. I'm not so snobby where I'm not going to talk to somebody. So they call me up and they're like, oh, hey. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And they're like, yeah, my name is such and such. I got a question. I'm having some challenges. So I'm like, yeah, what's up? And I'm a failure in network marketing. I'm like, wow. I'm sorry to hear that. So you're a failure. What do you mean? Well, I've been in this company for 2 years and I'm not making any money. And it's just like, I'm a failure. I'm like, okay, what company are you in? And they go, I'm in company X. I'm like, okay. And company X, as in almost every case, is a pretty good company. They're doing well. In fact, the most recent one was about a $600-700 million a year company. And this is basically the conversation that took place. And I said, well, when you say you're a failure, what do you mean? Well, it's just not working for me. I just can't get it to work. I'm like, okay, and this is always the question I ask. And this is the question for the people that are considering changing companies is this. And I always ask exactly the same question. It's the first question I go to. I'd say, Jesse, let me ask you a question. How many people in the last 90 days have you shown your product or your business to? Now, here's the response. Well, not enough. That's like the answer. And I go, well, okay, all right. I didn't ask you, is it enough or not enough? Give me a number. What's the number? Whether it's, is it closer to 2 or is it closer to 2,000? What's the number? Well, 90 days, probably somewhere between 10 and 15. That's the number I get. Like every single time that call happens in my office, that's the number. And I'm like, wait a second, dude, hold on. So you're telling me right now that you're a failure in the $700 million a year company. You're not a failure at all. You're just not doing anything. Can you honestly tell me that talking to 10 or 15 people in 90 days is even remotely close to enough to consider yourself an active distributor in that and therefore call yourself a failure? And they're like, well, gee, now that you put it that way. And it's like, look, get freaking real with yourself, man. Would you hire you? Based on that activity, would you hire you? If it was for like a serious position? No, you wouldn't hire. You'd fire your ass and you'd be like kicked out and gone. And so we have to be real with ourselves, be in a position of integrity and accountability with ourselves. In almost every case, the problem is not the company, it's the person in the company. Now, I'm not to say that there's some situations where it's a mismatch, you don't like the product, or it's just not, that's fine. Or maybe the management's stupid and they're making bad decisions or whatever. There are reasons why there's reasons why people would leave a company, but in most cases it's them. And so that would be the first place that I would look if you're kind of going, is this the right place? I'm like, are you even working the business? No, it's one thing if you told me, look, I talked to 1,000 people in the last 2 months and I haven't sponsored anybody. Well, shoot, it's still you. It's still you that's the problem. Well, what do you mean? Well, dude, if you talk to 1,000 people in 2 months and you didn't sponsor a single person, don't you think that there might be something that's missing, especially when you're in a $600 million a year company where other people are getting superb results and you're getting zero? Oh, you mean there's something wrong with me? Well, I'm not saying there's something wrong with you, but perhaps there's something wrong with how you're doing what you're doing. And maybe you're doing things where you're turning people off rather than turning them on. So
that's incredible. You're absolutely right. And I can even speak from experience. We try to justify certain reasons why possibly we've left different things. Like for myself, especially, and a lot of times, it's just take a look at your in the mirror and figure out what you're doing wrong. I struggled for 1.5 years in network marketing, couldn't figure out how to do it. Was thinking about quitting, and and then I had a nice talk with a couple people where they were like, listen, this is what you're not doing. This is, really think about, like you said, would you hire you? I think that's brilliant, by the way. Would you hire you? And if the answer is no, then figure out how to turn that into a yes. And then obviously, I was fortunate enough to kind of turn my results around, but you absolutely stated it brilliantly. And it sounds like, you're a fan of the hard work, of the system building, of the plugging into the events and the calls, and just getting very consistent with that. So kind of transitioning into just a couple last questions that I really wanted to ask you. you have an absolutely killer brand. Okay, just from an outsider's point of view, I've been following you. I'm like, man, this guy's got it. He's killed it in network marketing. He's doing well transitioning onto internet marketing. Obviously, you've been doing that a little while. You've made money in both. I see a lot of, especially my demographic, the younger generation kind of coming into this, and I see a lot of them are learning. They're trying to ball before they crawl, right? They're trying to run before they walk. A lot of them are taking pictures of themselves in front of cars and doing all this like lifestyle stuff when they're really not just going out there and doing like this I guess you call it money-making activity. And my question for you is, have you worked with anybody that's had this problem, that's gotten caught up in a lot of these bad habits? And then also, what's your recommendation for people that are getting started or that have been in for a while, when they should start focusing on their brand and kind of taking it to a next level? Is it something that you recommend right away, or is it something that you say, hey, listen, go have some success, go follow the system, go put in some real work, and then kind of focus on, your transition?
Okay. Few questions there that you asked. So first of all, if you're taking pictures of yourself in front of somebody else's car, you're lying. Okay. You're going to get caught. You're stupid. You're sitting there like you're acting like that's your, Rolls Royce Phantom, and the guy who actually owns the house comes out yelling at you, chasing you away. You're freaking living a lie. You're not. And then the other thing is, if you're driving a Range Rover and you're pulling that Range Rover up to your one-bedroom apartment, you're stupid, okay? This whole flashy BS about showing money that you don't have is probably the dumbest thing that you can do. I get it. I've done it myself. It's freaking stupid. Like, instead of you going and buying, like, I have a nice watch collection. I got a bunch of really expensive watches. You want to know the watch I'm wearing right now? My $200 G-Shock. Like a plastic rubber watch. That's what I'm wearing right now. I don't need to go show somebody how much money I have. Look, I get it. You want a nicer TV, fine. You want some new carpet in your house, fine. You want to upgrade your lifestyle, fine. But too many people come in this business, they start making a little bit of money, and they overextend themselves. In fact, most people that are full-time in network marketing shouldn't even be full-time in network marketing. In fact, I just had the same conversation with this buddy that I was referring to a little while ago. These people come in and they're making $4,000 a month, and they're out spending $5,000. And then if their check shifts at all, they're in desperate situations, and they're like, oh my God, I'm quitting this thing, but I can only come over there if you give me a deal. Give me a signing contract or something. It's like so ridiculous. So look, the best thing somebody can do is come in this business and be patient and work your ass off and stay part-time until you've proven to yourself that you can make money and be consistent at it. And then wait a little while before you ever leave your job. If you've been able to get to a decent level of income part-time, and you managed to do it while you had your job, I mean, now you've totally changed your lifestyle. Don't overextend yourself. This other thing about, building your brand and all of that, like, I never went out to build any brand. I mean, let your production do the talking. And I'm not saying that there's anything against branding or branding yourself or whatever. I mean, you branded yourself seven-figure dad. So, but I think what I don't like is when people brand themselves as and basically are showing themselves something that they're really not. So they're branding a lie. I did a post the other day, for example, about blogging, and I blogged about, do you need to blog or not? And I knew that I was going to be kind of a hotly little debated subject, and another top blogger, a friend of mine, responded, actually sent me a text message at 5:30 in the morning. He said, oh, I I read your blog post this morning. I love controversy. And I texted him back. I'm like, I figured you'd like that. And it wasn't any kind of poke at him at all. I mean, he's a very, very successful blogger. The point was, if you're going to blog and create a brand for yourself, don't brand yourself something that you're not, or brand something that's a total bold-faced lie. Like if somebody is going to start a blog, for example, about network marketing, instead of blogging about how you're like the know-it-all in network marketing, why not blog about the rambling episodes of a struggling network marketing-aholic that's trying to figure out his way and making this a success? That to me would be a more interesting and truthful perspective. I mean, my blog and my brand, The Fearless Networker, that's like a thing that's been a process over time. I blog about a lot of how-tos on being successful in network marketing, but it's also coming from a position of, having been in the profession for a very long period of time. So I'm blogging about something that's easy to blog about. That's not like I'm forcing content. And even I'll tell you, I mean, if you decide that you want to get into blogging and try to brand yourself, it's not an easy thing. I mean, it has to be something where the content is essentially effortless on your part. Otherwise, you're going to be really having a hard time trying to pump out that content. And then I think, it should go without saying, but I'll say it anyhow, that integrity is really important. Like, just coming from a place of authenticity, people can feel if you're full of crap, and they'll know it, and then you're caught, and then it sucks, and then you look stupid, and then your business fails. So just tell the truth, be cool, be real, be honest. I mean, people appreciate honesty, and you're going to make a lot more friends that way.
This is great. I mean, this is great stuff because, it is something, I've talked with a lot of people out there, and, we kind of, I don't want to say poke fun, but, we'll be like working with somebody or we know somebody who maybe just got started, fell on their face, decided they didn't want to do network marketing anymore. They didn't want to do whatever they were doing. And then poof, all of a sudden, they were a success coach, or they were, doing something, and then they were going to show you how to do what apparently they didn't know how to do themselves. I don't know. But you're right. And I think that I'm glad you kind of poked on that topic. A lot of the things, especially for bloggers out there, one of the things that I recommend for people, and I love seeing, is when, they do income reports, whether it's sexy or not. I don't care if it's 30 cents or if it's $1 or whatever. Like, I love seeing people be authentic. I love seeing people. I love how you're like, it's so much more interesting just to be like the struggling network marketer talking about struggling, and that's real. That's actually something I would tune into. And, I mean, we've got tons of people out there that have had success, and I'm the millionaire guru and this and that. And like, I think that you're absolutely right. It's like, just be authentic, just be real, put in work, actually have success, and then go out there and kind of share, share what you actually did. And I think that's great. I think you hit it right on the money. And I'm really glad that you touched on all that, because I think that, it's one of those things, especially as you see more and more people transition online. You're gonna, we just see that. We see a lot of that stuff go on. So I guess just kind of wrapping up, there's a lot of people out there. I'm sure the majority of the audience knows, has had some encounters with you because you've been around the game a long time. You've really paved the way for people like us, just people that have gotten in the last couple years, whether they've had success or not. My question for you is, obviously you've got some killer trainings that you're doing online. You've got a lot of things that people can kind of plug into to get involved with you and really take their business or, whatever they're doing to another level. So my question for you is, if anyone's watching, and they want to get connected with you, they want to work with you, they want to, get involved with you somehow, what's the best way to get a hold of you or get plugged in?
I mean, the best way to get plugged into me is just go straight to my site, which is toddfalcone.com, TODDFALCONE.com. And right on the front page, when you see my video pop up, typically on the front page, I've always got something cool that I'm giving away that helps people in their business. Like, as of the recording, or as we're doing this, I think I've got my 7 steps to yes template that's sitting on the front page of my site, which is actually pretty cool, because I show you in that particular template how to get more yeses, exactly how a conversation takes place and what are the things that go on during a conversation. And I end up tearing apart a conversation with a professional and go through and basically show you why I did and how I did what I did, so you can have a better understanding of how a phone call would work in network marketing. So go to toddfalcone.com. You can plug in there. You can download any of the free templates, and that'll essentially get you plugged into some of the other resources that I have. I run an accountability program about 3 times a year. It's one of my most popular group coaching programs. The next one starts on May 10th. It's a really powerful experience for somebody who wants to step up their game. We're going to be closing registrations on that fairly soon, because I did something in January this year. I did this deal where if you enrolled into 18, you could actually bring a buddy for free. So it essentially took the price, and then, even though I don't market it as a 2-for-1, it's kind of 2-for-1. So people went crazy over that. We filled up the first one in first quarter real quick, and then this one's already filling up. But it's kind of like hiring a personal fitness trainer, but for your business. So if you want a little kick in the ass and a little nudge and you need a little extra help and maybe you're not doing what you know you should be doing, then I would advise you to do a team. If you go to toddfalcone.com/team, TEAM, you can learn about that. And obviously you can plug into me on Facebook as well. And yeah, that's it.
Well, I want to first thank you so much, for coming on here on the Friday Happy Hour. If anyone's listening, obviously we'll have the text below, so you guys can just click his direct link, go check out his site and get connected with Todd. I want to say, hopefully we can get you back on here someday. This was. I don't want to put this out there like to hurt anyone's feelings. This is hands down one of the best interviews I've ever been a part of. I love when people can just be real. They can just tell us, hey, listen, this is what is going on, and this is what needs to change. And this is the nitty gritty of how to go out there and have success, especially in network marketing. Which I'm with you. I want to see this. Someday when people are going through high school and they're like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to see network marketing come out of their mouth. Like I want to see that be a response. I want it to be cool because I love this profession. I know you love this profession. And then the last thing I want to do is just say, like, okay, listen, Todd is not just somebody who can help you if you're just getting involved. This is a lot of people that, maybe you've had great success and are still looking for that next breakthrough to, maybe it's to a 7-figure income, maybe it's to a high 6-figure income. It's not just, but the reason I say that is because, Todd, if you can, if there's anyone listening that's brand new, maybe they've been in for a few months, they're struggling, maybe they don't have the support they wish they had, and for whatever reason, they're feeling like a lot of us have felt in our time, where they're getting ready to quit, okay? And we know quitting and what that can lead to and all that stuff, but just if you could give a last minute, message to anybody listening to this, whatever you're doing, real estate, trading, network marketing, internet marketing, blogging, what have you, if you're thinking about giving up, Todd, what could you tell that person?
I don't know. I guess Rome wasn't built in a day. I mean, I know that's so kind of lame and cliche, but it's true. I mean, success is not built overnight. If you wanted to be a physical specimen of rippedness, and you're not gonna go from eating cheeseburgers and having a gigantic tire around your waist to being ripped overnight. And if you think you are, then you're living on the wrong frigging planet. So look, this business, unfortunately, in most cases, takes longer. Success in general, like significance, takes longer than most people expect. They think in their minds, they plant the seed in their minds that it's going to be so much faster. And then what happens is they always under-deliver on those expectations that they set for themselves. And, it's funny because you see people, and I've even witnessed this, for example. I've talked to buddies of mine. I'm like, where'd that guy come from? That guy's freaking crushing it. Where did he come from? You're like, dude, he's been on the speaking circuit for 25 years, and finally it's like now he's an overnight success. He's an overnight 20-year success or something. It's kind of actually hilarious. I won't mention any specific names, but I've had like conversations with buddies of mine about specific people. I'm like, where did that guy come from? He's like, oh my gosh, dude. I met him 18 years ago when he first started speaking. I'm like, he's been speaking for 18 years. He's been doing this for 18 years. Oh yeah. And then all of a sudden he's like this big person. So, significance takes time, and anything worthwhile takes time. And I understand frustration because, think about it. Like I had 2 years, I had to move home and live in the bunk beds in my parents' house and, cut up all my credit cards and go to consumer credit counseling and start all over again. And so, if the value that the opportunity or the end result that you see ahead of you is significant enough, it's worth staying and going through the process. And I think if we talk specifically about, let's say, since most people watching this are probably involved in network marketing, it's worth it to stick to it, to figure this network marketing thing out, because it's so weird because I'm recapping some conversations I had today. I had a conversation with another guy before the guy I talked to, there was 2 conversations ago, and we were talking about residual income and network marketing, and he said, well, do you still get paid? I said, yeah, I still have a company that pays me well over $100,000 a year, and I don't do anything and haven't done anything in a year. And he's like, really? I said, yeah, I'm still making like this significant check and not doing anything. So it's worth it. It's worth it. Like that.
Oh, we losing you? You still there? No, okay, sorry. I was getting some background feed. That's absolutely incredible. And Todd, I'm glad you shared that because once again, you deliver in this way that it's like, it's kind of, I've been an athlete my whole life, and just hearing the way it kind of reminds me of like an actual coach, like somebody that's just going to say, hey, listen, like, I'm not going to baby you. This is how you're going to go out there and actually have success. If you're thinking about quitting, just know it takes hard work, but remember why you started. Have that that vision, and ask yourself, is it worth it? And if you ask any professional, anybody that's paved the way, that's put tons of time and tons of effort and hard work and sacrifice. You've said sacrifice a couple times today. It's like it's unanimously worth it for everybody. And so, Todd, I just want to say thank you so much, man, for coming on here, the Friday Happy Hour, giving hands down the rawest interview I've ever been a part of. I'm so grateful that that you did that, and that anyone listening, they definitely got a big case of tough love and an awesome perspective on the journey in the industry. And I just hopefully we can get you on again, and you've been absolutely incredible.
Well, Jesse, thank you so much for having me, and appreciate the opportunity. And I'm what happened to thanks for having me. I appreciate what you're doing for the space as well, and getting people like me out there and putting in front of a newer audience that may not have otherwise heard from folks like myself.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And if you're listening, definitely get connected. We'll have the links below for Todd Falcone. I don't think I need to hype it up any more than you've seen it. This guy's the truth. He's the real deal. He's paved the way. And so definitely get connected with him. Todd, thank you again for everything, man. And hopefully we'll be talking to you soon.
Sounds good, Jesse. Appreciate it, man.